Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to your course on Big Data. We are waiting for ma'am to join in. As soon as she joins in, then we'll start with your doubts, followed by the next series of lectures. Good evening, Shano ma'am. I have given you the rights.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am. I have given you the rights for the presentation and I have transferred the PPTs to them in their WhatsApp group regarding yesterday's lecture.
Fine, ma'am. Fine.
Okay, ma'am.
So, good evening to all the students. Thank you, Sakshi, ma'am. So, dear students, I hope all of you have received the material for the yesterday's session. And if in case there is any query regarding that, you may ask. Otherwise, we will start with the scheduled session.
No query, ma'am.
Fine. So, shall we start now? Yes, ma'am. Sakshi, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we can start now.
Okay. So, students, kindly convey, is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Fine. Thank you for telling. So, students, the today's session is all about data visualization. So, we'll try to understand how we can go about visualization of data by plotting the different kind of graphs. Fine, students, and in order to plot that, we need to understand some of the basics of graphics with respect to plotting part. So, the first part of this, we are going to cover how to create a simple graph. So in R programming, you require a plot command from the graphics package to create a simple graph. And it is having further different arguments that will be useful for you people to plot the graph in a different manner. Just like as we write something in Microsoft Word and then we format it by applying different kind of fonts, or you can say by increasing or decreasing the size, and by making changes in terms of color of the text and so on. So similarly, as we apply the things with respect to text, similarly you can also do all such kind of changes and formatting and labeling, you can say, with respect to graphs that you are going to create. So yesterday also we have discussed about some of the data sets, and I have shown you one data frame that is empty cars. Fine, students. So similarly in R, by default there are certain inbuilt packages and there are inbuilt data sets that you can utilize. So please mute for the time being Raghav Mittal. Thank you, Raghav. So in order to plot any kind of graph, the first requirement is to have some data. That data can be either inserted directly by using some of the data structures that we have covered. Like I am giving some list of values in the form of list, and then I'm trying to plot something. So this is one way. Another is to make use of some data file, and then you can plot a graph. And thirdly, if you are using some inbuilt data set from the R. Is it fine, students? How we can retrieve data first of all in order to plot a graph? So one thing is directly in R script, you can initialize some data and then you can make use of that data for plotting the graph. So I am going to tell you some of the data sets that you can use that are available in R itself. And that then we can make use of the attributes available and the data available in those data sets for plotting a graph. So here pressure is one of the data set which is, you can say, available in the preloaded package in R with the name datasets. Fine, students. So there is one package with the name datasets in R. It is the inbuilt one, and you are having access to various datasets out of that. And one of the dataset which is available in datasets package is pressure. So this particular data set contains observations for vapor pressure of mercury as a function of temperature. I hope you understand when we plot a simple graph. So we are trying to plot the data values along x and y axis. So usually y is, y can be expressed as in terms of x. So you are having some value for x, and as a function of x, we are many times plotting it along the y-axis. So this is the kind of correlation between x and y-axis in the simple graph. So you need to specify what is going to be plotted on the x-axis and how you can plot then y based upon the values for x. So we will see what kind of variables or data is available in pressure data set in the coming up practical session. So there is a command with the name str. Str command is basically to know about the structure of the various observations available in the data set. So I hope you people have read about the structure part in your theoretical subjects also. Have you gone through any subject that is related with databases? Yes, students?
MongoDB.
MongoDB is one of the, you can say, tool. But I'm asking you about the theoretical subject. I hope all of you have covered some subject in your BTech that conveys
No,
various fundamentals of databases. Okay, you haven't covered till now. Okay. So data set, you can say again a combination of rows and column, and every column is always labeled with some, fixed static name. Say for example, I'm having name for 100 students, so I can give stu underscore name or student name as the column name. Similarly, suppose I want to save the mobile numbers or contact numbers of all the 100 students, so I can maintain that information by putting all the values below the column labeled as contact information. Similarly, you can have address as one of the column, and then you can put the data for all the 100 students. Fine, students. And along with every row, always you are having some, column which indicates the uniqueness. So say, for example, to every student, we have given some registration number or roll number. So I can also maintain a column in the very beginning that indicates the roll number of every student, so that I can access every student's data, and that field requires to be, you can say, unique. So I cannot assign to same roll number to two students. I hope all of you understand these kind of concepts. So if I want to save data for two students, I need to maintain some key value so that the data against them should be applicable to one individual. It should not be for more than one student. I cannot keep the value for that column common for more than one student. So this kind of structure which tells me that what are the various column names, and in every column or attribute what kind of value I'm saving. Like in roll number, usually we people have numeric data, and if it is a registration number like in universities, so you can even have some kind of mixed mode data in which some of the characters are also there and some numeric values also there. Say for example, it is CSC01. So CSC is just like the code of the branch or stream, and 01 is the, further tells the number for the student. CSC 01. So in this manner, we can have alphanumeric as well as numeric attribute values for the particular roll number field. So in many terminologies, it is referred as rows and columns in the data set. Sometimes we also call it as, column name. Sometimes we call it as attributes of the data set and so on. So don't get confused. Everything conveys the same thing. Data set is usually in the form of values for different attributes, and attributes are normally, displayed as various columns in your file. Fine, students? So in order to see what is the structure of a particular data set, there is a command with the name str. So say for example, I know that pressure is one of the data sets available in R package with the name datasets. So I want to see the structure for this particular data set. So I will just simply pass the command str within parenthesis pressure. Fine, students? So currently this R Studio is open. So if I pass this command over here, str, so I'm passing it here in the interactive mode, str, and within brackets, I am typing here pressure. So as soon as you will start typing, automatically the name of the dataset will come. Fine, students. So I'm just pressing. So can you please see what kind of information it is showing you? So it is telling me that there are in total 19 observations of two variables. So my first variable in this data frame is dollar temperature, and another one is dollar pressure. So both are of numeric type, and these are the values against those 19 observations. So it is just showing me just like an array. Fine, students. So for temperature, I'm having different values, and total number of observations are 19. Similarly, for pressure, I'm having set of values. Fine, students. So you can make use of this for your graph plotting. So then comes the next command, attach, and within parentheses the name of your particular data set. So students, this attach command is required in order to attach any data set which is external, that is not available by default. So if you want to attach any external data set in R, then you need to use attach. If you will execute the same command for inbuilt data sets, then it may create an error message for you. That is known as package is masked. So avoid using attach command when it is inbuilt. So only use this attach command when you are going to use some external data set. Is this fact clear to all of you? Internal means which is available inbuilt, and external means that is not part of R. So you will have to bring it specially into your script by attaching using the attach command. So pass the command attach with the name of the data set. So you can go ahead with simple plotting, like here we are using plot temperature, pressure. So let me check it out. So fine, students, I am using this command for plotting the graph, which is shown above. So when we will try to plot this, it will show you a graph like this, in which there are some values plotted along the x-axis, and some values are plotted along the y-axis. So x-axis shows you with level temperature, and it is expressed in degree. Similarly, along the y-axis, we are plotting pressure, Fine, students, and the bold title is basically the main title for your graph. So in the plot command, you can pass several, attribute values. Just like in a function, we pass different argument values. So usually this first argument is the name of this particular data set, pressure. So actually it was generating an error message because pressure is the name of the variable also inside the pressure data set. So you can also make use of this command with respect to some other data set. So like I'm having here one more data set above with the name women. So before we use any of the data set, you need to know some commands. So let me show you. First of all, if let's say we want to plot any graph, so I need to know what are the various available data sets. So students, you can run, please. You can do practicals along with me. I will give you in between time. So I hope it will be fine. Please run the command data on your machines. Yes, students? And convey me if you are able to do this.
Done, ma'am.
So in our studio, please pass the command data. Are you able to
Done,
see
ma'am.
some results?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
So students, these are the various data sets available in the package data sets. Fine. So you can read like air passengers is monthly airline passenger numbers. So if you want to check any of the data set, fine students. So for that, you need to run the command that is, first of all, library data sets. So this command is to use a package in R. So basically the data sets is the name of the R package in which different data sets are available. So you need to run this command because I have told you in the first session also that after installation of any package and this data set is by default available. So for using any of the package in R, you will have to pass the library command, library data sets. And then if you are not aware of any particular data set, then run the help command. Students, you can please run, first of all, library within brackets data sets. So I hope you are able to get this command. So library within brackets data set. So it will just allow you to use the package with the name datasets. Fine, students. And then I am interested in using some data from the data set with the name women. But I am not aware of what kind of values or what kind of attributes are there. So one thing is you can check it out the structure using the str command. And another is you can also pass the help command. So please check, is it running on your machine? Help within brackets, I'm passing the name of the data set, that is women. So what kind of information it is showing you?
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
hope you can see all this information, the data frame with 15 observations on two variables. The first variable is with the name height and another is weight. Suppose weight is with respect to height. So I can simply plot height along the x-axis and weight along the y-axis. Are you getting, students? So usually the
Yes, ma'am.
variable which we plot along the y-axis is a function of variable on the x-axis. So height is expressed here in inches and weight is expressed here in pounds. So you can make use of any, metrics for this and you can represent your data. So this is the all about, details available in the women data set. So similarly, you can check any other also. So do you want to check any other data set? So you can pass help and within brackets, you can change the name. Because earlier we have checked various data sets. These are the data sets. Fine, students. So any one of this you can check in help command. Like there is a data set here with the name. Okay, students. So basically, this is a data set available in datasets package. And this is all about this data set provides information on the fate of passengers on the fatal, it is all about data related to Titanic. So you can check here what kind of values it provides. It is providing you with class, passengers, which passenger was traveling in which class, first, second, third, or a crew member. Then gender information is also available, and age is also available, whether they are child or adult. I hope now you can correlate that these all variables are of type factors. Okay, students? Because above it is written levels. So any variable, any attribute in your data set, if it is having some 2 or 3 type of values, then it comes under levels or factors information. Similarly, gender is also some kind of categorical data. So male, female, and age also, let's say if I am simply categorizing them child and adult, I have made some criteria that below this age everyone is referred as child, and above this age you can refer adult. So then survived, whether they survived after the Titanic fate, or they are they were not able to survive. So these two things are expressed as no and yes. So is this command clear to all of you? How you can explore your particular data set, so that before you run any command you should know what is available in that. So then there is a command with the name data. And within data, you can simply pass the name of the data set. Earlier, we run a command simply data, so that displayed all the available data sets. And if you're particularly interested in exploring the data in a particular data set, then you will have to pass the command data within brackets, the name of the data set. And then you can simply run command by putting its name. So I hope now you can see the data available. So student, please run these commands, so that you should also be able to plot the things. Fine, students? First, you pass the command data within parentheses, name of the data set within double quotes. So you can now understand that first of all, what we did, first of all, we checked what are the available data sets. Then I simply pass the command for using the package data set. And then what we did, we tried to know about the data set using the help command. Once you are aware of that particular data set details, then you can just check the data of that particular data set using the data command. And then out of this, now you can choose, because only 2 variables are there. So you can simply check. So it is actually giving some error. So students, is it running on your machine? Is this command running on your machine? Plot command?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then we are moving ahead with the presentation. So I hope now you can just check it out, the available data sets, and you can accordingly decide which data set is to be used. So students, after doing this, then we can move on to the next part, that is how to modify the different attributes available in the particular graph. So first of all, I'm going to tell you, when we plot a graph, so suppose I want to plot every data value using simple circle or a filled circle or star. So these kind of different symbols can be used for plotting the graph. So these are the different aspects that we are going to cover. So what is the type of a graph? What are the different kind of symbols that you can use in a graph? Size of points, type of lines, color of points and lines, thickness of line and points, and so on. Fine, students? So let me share with you. So first of all, we will check what kind of graph you want to plot in simple graph. So in order to create a graph with points, you will have to pass this P attribute, like here in this command. Plot these two variables shows if it is creating problem, please put the name of, simply data set, that is pressure, and comma type equals to P. Fine, students? So these are the different possibilities. If you want to draw a line graph, then rather than using P, you express type equals to L. Then type equals to B means both line and dots. Type equals to H means create a graph with vertical lines. Type equals to S means staircase type graph. And N means to create a graph without plotting. So usually what we prefer, P, L and B. Fine, students? Usually we prefer either using just point plotting or using a line and so on. So I'm going to show you one command here. So are you able to see what I have plotted here?
Yes, ma'am.
So temperature is coming along the x-axis and pressure is coming along the y-axis, and it is a line graph basically, because I have expressed here using the type attribute equals to L. So please change in it if you put in the same command. Just change the attribute type equals to B or type equals to, first of all, let's say P. Fine, students. So if you will give type equals to P, so it will simply show you points. And if I will make it type equals to B, so it will show you both the things. So I hope you can see that in between this, it is showing me some kind of line also. Fine, students? Because plotting area was less, so you were not able to visualize properly. So I hope now it is clearly visible to all of you. So by putting type equals to B, it will show you circles also, and it will show you that these are connected through line. Fine, students. So these are the three most popular type values. You can check for other also, like as I said, you can also put here H. So this is staircase. So you will have to first decide what kind of, plot you want to draw. Accordingly, you can just move ahead. Fine, students? I hope you have understood the type attribute.
Yes, ma'am.
So we are building our graph, step by step. Now the next requirement is to decide what kind of, let's say a circle is not looking good in our graph. So I can also plot plus symbol, star symbol, and so on. There are different varieties available in R. So for that, you are having PCH attribute. So I'm giving here one number, PCH equals to 8. So 8 is basically for plotting the data values using star. Fine, students? So you can make use of this PCH attribute for plotting the graph with star. So please note down, PCH can be set from 0 to 25. Fine, students? It can be set from 0 to 25. And as I have used here in my script, PCH equals to 8. So 8 stands for star symbol. So out of these, any one of the symbol can be plotted in your graph. So say, for example, I want to put every data value as triangular object. So you will have to make this attribute equals to 2. Fine, students? So any value from 0 to 25 you can put. Fine, students? Please try this command. plot the graph using type attribute. And I hope now you understand what is this PCH attribute is here in this plot command. PCH can be set to any value from 0 to 25. We have tried it by using 8 and 2. 8 stands for star and 2 stands for triangle. Fine, students? Or another way is also there if you forget all this. So simply put within double quotes that particular thing. PCH equals to like percentage. So this is another, method to do the thing. Rather than putting numeric value, simply directly, if I am saying, put this symbol. Fine, students? So put the value in different, double quotes. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
So students, next we are going to cover about the font attribute. So font plays its role when your PCH attribute is set to some kind of font. Fine, students? Let's say I am going to put alphabet. So I need font attribute also. So like here in this command, PCH equals to, let's say I want to plot here B. Fine. So B is a character. So for this font attribute is applicable. Just take care of lower and uppercase. Sometimes it doesn't work only due to the reason that you have put the things in different case. So here plot pressure is the name of the data set. Type equals to B, that is I want to show points as well as line connecting them. And PCH equals to B means every data value in this graph will be plotted using the B character. And for that I'm using font 4. Suppose you think that this font is coming, very big, so you can just change its value. Fine, students? So you can keep on changing the attribute values depending upon the available range. So please try font also.
Ma'am, what are the range of numbers for font attribute?
As such, there is no range that we usually, but I hope, may I know the name of the student?
Shivam Maurya, ma'am.
Okay, Shivam, there is one thing. Beta, you can simply just jot down from here only. Like if I am giving it font equals to 2 or 4, so it is coming, it doesn't looking good. So always prefer small value. It is just like in Word, we keep on changing the font value. So we don't prefer any, big value for this. So if you will simply give some higher value, fine. So accordingly, it will just give you, actually here the plotting area is very small, So you can simply check it out by increasing the plotting area. It is not coming in its actual size actually that we are using. So you can check which font size is suitable for your plotting. And your point should not be in such a size that it should just make your graph horrible in look. Fine, students? So it should look good. So points are always small, otherwise it will acquire your all space of the plotting area. Fine, students? So as such, we are not putting here limit, but it should always be preferable as per the, your requirement. If the points are looking good, they are, legible and you can make the difference between the different data points, then you can choose that size. Fine, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So next is basically one more point. So here you just check it out, the 4 options. So there is one small change over here. We are having one more argument, that is CEX argument. Fine, students. So your data points will take their size change by using CEX. And with respect to font, you can try the 4 options. Fine, students. There are 4 choices. You can put 1, 2, 3 for you. Just try. I'm giving you time. Set font equals to 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine, students. Sure. So please check it out, these font values. If you will, actually, it is not for, this is actually I correlated it with size, but it is for your this making the style option. When you are applying this font attribute, so one option means to get it in bold. And for 2, it will show you all the data points, bold format, and 3 for italic and 4 for bold italic. When we are putting font simply 1, so then in that case it will just appear to you normal. Fine, students. It is not raising any error message, but you will have to check what kind of style will preferable. Is it working? Is this attribute working for you? All the styles? Yes, students. If we are putting it here like 4, it is bold italic. If we are putting it 1, it is normal. If we are putting it 2, then it is bold. And we can also set it to 3. Fine, students? Normal, bold, italic, and bold italic. So 4 kind of styles you can apply to this. Now another attribute that you can use is CEX argument. Suppose I am giving here value 4. This is size basically. So now here I can understand that 4 is creating my data points to merge. So what you can do, you can just simply reduce the size. Fine, students. And if this alphabet is not a good choice, then what we can do, we can simply remove this and put some other symbol. Fine, students. Is it clear to all of you how these different attributes play their role in graph plotting?
Yes, ma'am.
So could you please repeat with me, what is the significance of type attribute?
It is used to change the type of graph that we are plotting, style of graph.
Okay, then PCH means?
It stands for the character that we want in our graph to be
So
pointed.
you can say it is related with the type of symbols that you are going to use for plotting your data values. Every star represents one data value that you are plotting. Fine, students? So if I am having 19 observations, so it is showing me 19 stars. Are you getting my point? So every
Yes.
star represents one data value. And for this, if I found that plus sign is suitable or star is suitable or dot is suitable, accordingly, you will have to either choose the numeric value, or you can simply within double quotes, you can specify that symbol. Then comes font. Font is again for applying the style to the symbol. So it is more understood when you are having some character in the PCH attribute, when you are using some alphabet to plot the data values. And CEX is an argument which is used for plotting your data points with variation in size. So size should always be less in order to plot the data points. This is, you can say, generalized principle. Fine, students? So I am now moving ahead with the next argument. So please check it out, this attribute LTY. Yes, students, it is going to have its value from 1 to 6. Please check it out. Either you put this numeric digit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you write in double quotes solid, dashed, dotted, dot dash, long dash. Fine, students? So the name of the argument is LTY. And remember one thing, when type is L, then it will work. So I showed you that type equals to what? Yes, students, what kind of attributes I can take? For point P, for line, you can change what? Fine. So for type equals to B and L, it will work. Otherwise, it will show you problem. So if you don't wish this attribute PCH, you can remove. Font is also not needed because I'm working with what? Line graph. I'm not plotting specific points. So now you check for LTY equals to 2. Is it clear now? I'm only working with line graph, so I can make changes. It is dotted. Earlier it was dashed for 4. Is it working for you, students? Please check.
Yes, ma'am.
Every value for LTY is having different meaning. Fine, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So here I have shown you what does it signifies. So when type is equal to P, that is points, then LTY argument is useless. I hope now you can understand the relevance of line type. Line type works when we are using type equals to B. That is both pointed lines or simply line, L. Fine, students? Either you make use of L or you use B, in which we can plot points as well as line. So only then LTY argument will be applicable, otherwise not. And then comes color. For color, you can have different values. Either you specify COL equals to red or you use its number. Fine, students? So here it can be worked with this COL. Fine, students? It is working. Or you can also make use of numeric number. If you remember, let's say 5. Oh. Fine, students? Is it working? Are you able to change the color?
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the different colors, or you can put the digit in order to see this. Fine, students? So students, you can use any color out of these. Run the command colors. Students, you can run the command colors. Colors is a function which will display you the name of the color. These are all the available colors options. Fine? Is it working for you?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So you can see that you are having so many options that you can, right? So while it is not visible, so you can try some other option. There is some disturbance from student end. Please mute your mic. I think you are not attending from home or some attending from outside, so please. So after checking the colors, colors function, you can now put any color out of this.
Raghav, kindly mute yourself.
So students, now you can check along with, line type LWD attribute. LWD, that is line width. So when we are plotting a line graph, you can simply change its thickness. So if you want to increase more, so you can just change LWD attribute in order to make your line more thick. So now you can easily check it out what kind of line plot you are having. So for with respect to line, again I'm repeating, type should be either L or type should be the B. Fine, students. So if you are making it B, let's say, so points will also be shown. Fine, students. So these are the different observation points and they are connected through line, and color of the line is yellow, and line type is dash, and further its width is 3. So these are the different attributes that we have covered with respect to the line graph. So here is the quick summary of all this. So just we have covered type with 3 values P, L and B. Then we have covered PCH attribute having different values either from 0 to 25, or you can simply specify any alphabet also, or within double quotes you can specify the symbol also. Then along with that we have tried the font attribute in order to make changes in the symbol style. Then we have covered the size attribute CEX in order to make changes in the plotting of the symbol. So for that you can make use of CEX attribute. Fine, students. And then we have covered LTY and LWD and COL attribute to make changes in the color. So till now, if there is any question, please ask.
No question, ma'am.
Fine, students. So now we will see how to modify the title and subtitle of a graph. So for this, again, you are having all the preferable choices. You can make changes in color of title, size of title, font of title, subtitle you can provide, color of subtitle, size of subtitle, and font of subtitle. Because now we have understood all the basic attributes, so these all basic things can be applied to both subtitle as well as main title. So please try using this main attribute. Main equals to, within double quotes you can specify the main title for your graph. We have already seen this command, so you can just use main attribute for giving the main title for your graph. Fine, students. And then comes color. So just listen to me carefully how to apply the color to the title, main title. So you will have to use col.main. Fine, students. col.main. And you can make use of colors. I have already shown you how to set, either give in double quotes the name of the color, or you can make use of digits 1 to 8, because generally these colors are used. Rest depends upon your choice. You can opt for. Fine, students. So for color, col.main. Similarly, size is represented by CEX. If you put dot main, it means it will be applicable to the size of the main title. Please try these two. Yes, students? Is it working for you? Color attribute for the title and size attribute. Please check it out on your system.
Yes, ma'am, working.
So suppose I'm just by default giving this, and then I'm focusing more towards, because there are a lot many arguments. So main title should be like this. Then after putting comma, col dot main equals to, let's say, 2, and col cex dot main equals to 3, font dot main equals to 2. Fine, students? Suppose all of these settings we have done. So accordingly it will do. So you can just check it out how big it is coming, temperature versus pressure. So it means we need to reduce. So it can be done using the CEX. Fine, students? So again, bring this command on the screen and make changes here. Fine, students? Please check it out, color. Now only you need to bring changes in this command. Like if you want to make changes in the color, so you will have to change your color value here. In place of 2, if you want to bring 3, and in style, if you want to again make some changes like 4. Fine, students? So color has been changed to green and its style is now bold italic. Fine, students? So I hope now you can correlate the 3 things, that is color, size and font style with the main title. Please convey me in the chat window whether you are able to do this or not. Yes, students? Please try these all attributes. Is there any query till now?
No, ma'am.
So is it working for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
So similarly, you please add this sub attribute in order to give your subtitle. Yeah. Run this. Can you see on your screen subtitle? I have added graph demo as a subtitle. On the top of the graph, you are able to see the title of the main title of the graph, and below, x-axis subtitle is coming, that is graph demo, and temperature and pressure are labels along x and y axis. Fine, students? This can be done using the attribute sub. So all the attributes that you have tried for the main title, like color, size, and font style, all these can be done along with subtitle also. Just make one change in this. Rather than using main, you put their sub. Fine, students? So in this command, col.main You can replace it with CO sub. Fine, students? Color dot sub, CEX dot sub, and font dot sub. Fine, students? So now you can understand that if you will, put everything in the single plot command, how lengthy it will be. So have you tried for the sub also, subtitle? Yes, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, students, now move forward and now make changes in the, by default, it is displaying the variable name along X and Y axis. If you want to give any other name, then please make use of X LAB and Y LAB attribute for X and Y labels. Okay, students? So in order to make any changes with respect to X and Y labels, so you can modify. You haven't provided this X lab and Y lab, but by default it is coming. Are you getting me? It was coming by default depending upon the column name. So now rather than just putting here pressure, I have mentioned pressure of mercury, temperature of mercury. Fine, students? For this I am using the attribute X LAB, Y LAB. Yes, students, have you done with this?
Yes, ma'am.
So right now we are covering some of the attributes related to the axis. So usually what we need. So sometimes we need to make certain changes with respect to labels on the axis or color of the axis label, or maybe you want to change size of axis label or font of axis label, axis limit. So have you seen in any graph that the starting point is not 0, but it is starting with, let's say, directly 200? Similarly, along the y-axis, the point at the intersection of x and y-axis is not 0. Maybe you are starting after some gap with the value 400 or so, 20, or any other value. So this all is possible using the axis limit. Fine, students? So you can decide which should be the limit of the axis. Similarly, color of axis value you can change. One thing is axis label. Axis label is means text that is coming below x and y axis. Axis label means the values that you are showing 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. Fine, students. Similarly, along the y axis you are having some values. So this is better. This is axis values. And the in small words it is coming weight in kg. So this is basically axis label. Axis label and axis values are two different things. So you can make individually changes in both the things, axis label and axis values. Fine, students? So now try all this with the axis. We have already seen how to change the color. You can change the color by using col.lab. Run it. col.lab. LAB. Fine, students. So like col.lab means you are going to make changes in the color of the labels. Fine, students. Color of the labels I have changed. These are the labels of X and Y axis. Similarly, make changes in the size. Yes, students, make changes in the size of the label by doing cex.lab. Fine. .lab means I am putting the size property to the label along the axis. So actually 2 was coming very big. So let me take 1.5. Fine, students. So still if it is more, then you can reduce further. Only 1 I am taking size of the labels. Fine, students. So you can work around the labels. Right now we are focusing all the properties on labels. You can make changes in the color. You can make changes in the size. So now I have applied the style font.lab. Please run this command, the last command, in which I have applied color to the label, size to the label, and font to the label. Yes, students. Please convey if you have covered this up to now, up till now.
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
running?
Yes.
Fine. So I hope you have tested. So will you please repeat with me? We have, run color, size, and font. First of all, we have applied all these things to what?
Lines.
To the data, data values. To the symbols, we have applied all
Yes,
these things. Fine. Then we have seen that how they all can be applied to the main title. So when you are applying to the main title, simply after these argument names, CEX, font, and COL, that is color, dot के बाद आपको लगाना है main. Fine. And if it is for subtitle, then आपको dot के बाद लगाना है SUB. Fine. And if you are going to put it for labels along the X and Y axis, then put col.lab, cex.lab, and so on. And if you are not using anything after dot, it means by default it is applicable to your graph. Fine. To the data values. So in case if particularly you wish to apply color, font, and size to labels or axis labels, so you will have to put certain thing after this dot, col dot. So then it is just like, we do the object oriented programming and we specify the properties and methods to which we are going to apply. So similarly, after col, you will have to mention, is it going to be applied to label or subtitle or main title? Fine, students. So in this manner, you can vary the appearance of your graph. So next is how to specify the axis limit. So for that, we are having two arguments, x LIM and Y LIM. X LIM is for X limit. And now you people understand the concept of vectors. So you can specify any limit. Fine. So depending upon your data set. So students, first of all, explore your data set, what kind of values it has, and then you can decide what is the appropriate limit along the x-axis and along the y-axis. So if your all values in the variable representing along the x-axis are covered from 0 to 100, so you can decide your x limit from 0 to 100. Suppose there is as such no value below 100. So it means my every value that is to be represented along x-axis is above 100. And suppose all values are covered below 500. So I can set the limit x lim equals to c 100, 500. Are you getting this thing, students? Similarly, y limit.
Yes.
Y lim equals to c, and the first value in this is representing your starting limit, and the second value after comma is representing the last limit. So you will have to decide this limit along x and y axis depending upon the data set. First of all, check all the values in that column that you are going to represent along x axis. Only then decide this limit. Otherwise, it will not show you any point. Suppose if I choose a limit along x-axis that is not having any data within that. So the significance of setting the x limit and y limit will not be relevant in that case. Fine, students? So make use of this argument carefully. You can check it out if some value is there working for this. If you give x lim equals to c, fine, students? So we have set the x limit. Similarly, y limit is 0 to 200. You can set this also. Again, I am going to include this comma y lim equals to c 0, 200. Fine, students? Can you see the change in numbering? So depending upon the limits that you are deciding, it will show on the x and y axis. Please tell me if it is working for you.
Done, ma'am.
Done? Okay. Okay, now try to change this, axis values. For this, you run the command col.axis, font.axis, cex.axis. Fine, students? In the above command, if I make changes, col rather than label, if you change here axis, please change it and check size.axis.
Working, ma'am.
Working. Font.axis. So now we can see that all the things, color, font style, and size, it has applied to the values along the x and y axis. So now you can understand that there are so many possible arguments to modify your graph. And it's all in your hands how you want to make your graph, visible to all. So because data visualization is very essential aspect, so you can produce a very good graph out of all these arguments and you can set according to your requirement. Is it working for all? Are you doing along with me? In case you want me to give you time, please convey.
Done, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, now run this command str within brackets iris. Run this command str within brackets iris. Iris is one, data set related to the species of flower. So this includes 150 observations of 5 variables. The first variable is sepal dot length. Fine. Sepal dot width, petal dot length, and petal dot width. And the species are of 4 types. Setosa, versicolor. So all this you can see by putting data iris. Are you able to see, students? First of all, I checked the structure of this particular data set available with the name iris. Then I pass the command data in order to see the data. Then simply pass the name of this data set iris. So I'm having sepal dot length, sepal dot width, petal dot length, and petal dot width. These 4 attributes are there with respect to the flower dimensions. And the name of the species is of 4 types. So that's why it is showing me that this species attribute is of type factors that we did yesterday also. And what kind of values you will find. So there are 4 categories of flowers depending upon their dimensions. One is setosa, another is versicolor, one is virginica. So out of this 150 observations, you can just identify these are all setosa, then versicolor are there, virginica are there. Fine, students? So these levels of flowers are there in this data set. So you can just check it out. How many types are there? 1, 2, 3. So there are only 3 levels. So it means you will find 3 categories. Is it working for you? Please convey.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, students, can you please pass the command to plot this graph? Sepal dot length and sepal dot width. Yes, students, is it working for you? So just be careful while writing the name of the attribute. Sepal means S capital, dot length means again S capital. Just pass the command plot. So when you will use here sepal dot length sepal dot width. Students, is it working for you? Please check the command.
No, ma'am.
Just try with attach command. Attach iris.
Yes, ma'am, it's working.
It's working.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can see here that this is point plotting, and I have used the two attributes. So even if the data set includes more than two, so you will have to decide what is to be plotted along x-axis. So first variable should be that, and the second should be plotted along the y-axis. Fine, students?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can also mention like this. Try this attribute x is equals to f. So can you see the change? X's are not visible now. Fine, students? So this is the plot between sepal dot length and sepal dot width without the axis. Axes are not visible right now. Is it working for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now pass this command axis, where you can set one thing is at and another thing is labels. Fine, students? There is one argument at and there is another argument labels. So let me show you what does it means. So when you want to convey on which side you want to put the axis. So side equals to 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it will show you for bottom, left, top, and right. Fine, students? You can use axis command, which is having this generalized syntax. The first attribute here is side. So side can have 4 values. It can be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Fine, students? 1 means bottom, 2 means left, 3 means top, and 4 means right. At argument is used to mention the points on the selected side. And labels is used to choose the name of the labels. So it means I want to show these labels equals to low, medium, high. Fine, students? And at which points I want to put at a certain point, let's say 4.5, 6, and 7.5. And I wish to, put on which side? Side equals to 1. So just run this command. What kind of graph it is showing you?
Done, ma'am.
What kind of graph you are getting? What change it is making in your graph when you put this? Yes, students?
Ma'am, it is
It's
showing a
showing
line.
the axis on the bottom side with low, medium, and high labels.
Okay. And what does this 4.5, comma 6 and comma 7.5 that we have mentioned? How it is taking this?
According to y-axis.
This is basically the position that it is taking. Fine. So
Okay, ma'am.
at these locations, I want to display the labels. Fine, students. So similarly, if let's say if I put x is side equals to 2, what it will do? So it is showing you labels low, medium, and high, and the values at which it is showing is 4.5, then at location 6, then at location 7.5. Fine, students. So you can try it out, this command, in order to display some labels along your axis. Similarly, you can also display these along the y-axis. So I am giving some different location values over here. 2.25, comma, 3.25, comma, 4.25. Fine, students? Okay, what we did? So if you will give some overlapping between the locations, that then it may create problem. So decide on which side you want to show these kind of labels. Fine, and what are those labels? So I said labels are low, medium, and high. As there are 3 labels, so I need 3 locations. So you will have to mention that using the at argument. At equals to, and by using the vector you specify the values. So I have given the positions, and in order to mention whether it should be displayed bottom, left or right or on the top. Fine, students. So the first argument in your axis command can be 1, 2, 3 or 4. If any query out of these, please ask. Yes, students. Is it clear to all of you how it is working?
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
I have a doubt.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, please ask. Yogita?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, in my case, it is showing 4 things like low, then high, then medium, and then again high. And I'm passing 3 values in the vector at.
So either you, show me your command or just check it out better, because if there are 3 labels, 3 locations you need to provide. Fine. So maybe there is some mismatch. Check it out. Are you providing 4 locations? Check your values.
They are okay.
Have you got the error? Yes, Yogita. Have you got the error? Are you able to debug your command?
Ma'am, I'll paste the command in chat box.
Okay. Yes, Yogita. Show me what command you have run. Yogita, is it 4.5 beta or 4.5, 6 and 7.5?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It should not give such kind because in our screen, you can just refresh and run it again. If some this kind of problem is another student also facing the same problem? Yes, students. So Yogita has conveyed that instead, in spite of giving only 3 locations and 3 labels, the label is getting repeated. So Yogita, where it is repeating the 4th time the same label? When you are giving the
Ma'am,
locations 3, at which
yes, ma'am.
location?
Between low and medium, it is giving high.
Low, medium, high, and then again it is repeating.
No, ma'am. Between low and medium, it is giving high. Like low, high, medium, and then again high.
Okay. No problem. I will check it out in case because as per syntax because in our case it is coming properly. So you just check it again after refreshing your script. You can again
Yes, ma'am.
rerun it and tell
Okay,
me
ma'am.
if still it persists.
Yes, ma'am.
So I hope it is working for all of you students. So you can make changes in all these 3 arguments and check it out whether it is showing you properly or not. So next is box command. Please run the box command now. So are you able to draw this box? Draw a box around your plot using the box command.
Yes, ma'am.
So now it is how to add additional elements to a graph. Like if you want to specifically highlight some point by adding point or adding text, adding a straight line or some curve, you can also add these additional things. So there is a command with the name points. Fine, students. So if you want to add some specific point, suppose out of all the data values, I want to highlight one very important point, which represents the mean of sepal dot length and mean of sepal dot width. So please check this command, which I am just showing you. Points command, points. Run it. So I want to show sepal dot length. Then I want to show mean of sepal dot width. So if any point is having specific significance, you can plot that point separately as an additional point other than the observations like this. Okay, students? Please tell me if it is working for you. It is a points command. So I want to compute. I hope now all of you understand what does this mean function does for you. Sepal dot length. Fine, students. So similarly, I want to plot mean of sepal dot width. And then I want to specify simply this point should be displayed using the symbol with the value 8 and its color should be equal to 2. Yes, students, are you able to draw this point?
Yes, ma'am.
So this point indicates basically sepal dot length and one is sepal dot width. So you can use, symbols as per your choice. So you need to tell basically the coordinate position in order to plot this point. So it will just plot a point and this is a kind of additional element for your graph. Then comes if you want to put some specific text. So there is a command with the name text. So you first of all specify the coordinate where you want to display, then you put a label that you want to show and then font for the same. Run this command, text command.
Excuse me, can I ask something, please?
Yeah.
I'm not able to plot immediately the x-axis and y-axis using sepal.length. I need to use iris dollar sign before that. Is there a specific reason why?
Yes. I told you in the beginning, when we want to make use of any data set, so if it is an inbuilt data set that is available, then you can work. Otherwise, we need to pass this command that is for attaching with that data set, because without that, it will not allow you to proceed with any command. So you can try out if by default it is working, then it's fine. Otherwise, you will have to use attach command. Attach and within parentheses, just pass the name of the dataset.
Okay, thank
Fine.
you.
So I hope all of you are able to run this command also. Let's say additionally, I want to show some text on my graph. So I need to just give the location of that, choose a correct location for that, and then you put labels, attribute labels. Let's say I want to reflect some special text at a particular location, average value. Fine. And then I want to give a font. So can you see the text is added on the plotting area? Otherwise, it wouldn't have come. Because after plotting the graph, I have added these additional elements. I mentioned one point specially highlighted in red color that represents mean of sepal dot length and mean of sepal dot width. And this additional text we are reflecting here on the plot with the name average value. So what I need is I need to specify the location in terms of coordinate position, and then I want to specify what I want to put over there. Let's say I have mentioned here average value. So it will show me this text on the plot. And then font means just I want to make it, bold in appearance. So if you want to make it bold italic, the same fundamental as we did with respect to other elements. So font will just give a style to this. Yes, students? Is it working for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, next is a line that we are going to, plot. Other than this, that takes all the data values. So in order to draw, let's say, a straight line, we require two parameters. One is intercept and another is slope. I hope every one of you remember the equation for a line with a slope. So this kind of straight line can be drawn using the function AB line. So like y equals to mx plus c. So similarly, we are plotting over here this line where I am passing the values for a and b arguments that represents intercept and slope. Fine, students? So a equals to 0.4, b equals to 0.5, line width equals to 2, and color is 3. So just pass this command and check whether it is drawing the straight line or not.
Done, ma'am.
Yes, students, is it working for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
So it
Yes,
means
ma'am.
when it comes as a matter of adding the additional element, so it can be a point, it can be some label, it can be some straight line. So you will have to decide means if there is a need for any additional element other than the observations that you are plotting on your graph. So you can look for such kind of functions available in R. Fine, students? Similarly, you can also plot a curve. Fine. So for that, we are having a command with the name curve. So suppose we want to plot 4 plus 2 into sin x. Fine, students? Add equals to true. And again, line width equals to 2 and color equals to 4. So just check it out whether this command is working for you or not. Name of the command is curve. So a curved line I want to plot on the graph. And for that, I'm using this function 4 plus 2 sin x. So just check it out. Is it working for you or not? Yes, students, is it working? The curve command?
Yes, ma'am.
So I have mentioned, okay, this expression in order to draw this curve, and in order to add, I made this argument set equals to true, and I mentioned the color of the line and width. So in this manner, straight line, curved line, point plotting, some specific label you can add on further also. So now there is one query for all of you. Please draw a graph using simple plot command, and for that create two vectors x and y. Fine, students? So take some values along the x-axis like 10, 20, 30, 40, and similarly mention some values for y. And show me to how you are going to draw it. Fine, students? So take 5 minutes and tell me, first of all, you will have to create two vectors and then plot the graph between x and y. Is the query clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Check it out. Yes, students, is it working for you?
Yes, ma'am.
Can
Yes,
you
ma'am.
please paste your command in the chat window? Yes, students, is it working? So you have created one vector x equals to Rishabh. Okay, fine. Good. So is it working for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
के लिए पर्सनल ले लेंगे. So kindly check the mic, please mute it. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, students. So let us do one more addition to this. I hope all of you have heard about legend. Yes, students. Have you heard of adding legends to the graph?
No, ma'am.
So it's a kind of, additional information about your graph where you want to convey about the different color data points. What does they convey? So we have tried the plot command along with iris data set, in which we are having three kind of flowers depending upon their attribute values. So these three levels are setosa, versicolor and virginica. Fine, students. So if you want to convey that red color represents, suppose, setosa, and green color represents versicolor, and blue color represents virginica. So for that, we always draw a small box on the side, either on the top right corner or top left corner or bottom right corner or bottom left corner. So it can be placed along all the four directions. Okay, left, right, and similarly on the bottom also on left or right hand side. So for that we are having a command, legend command. So students, just try this command. Plot sapple.length species equals to setosa, and rest of the attributes now you can easily understand we have already done with. Fine, students. Just check it out, this command. So it is just like a conditional. Till now we have drawn all the observations. Fine, students. Till now you people have drawn all the observations. So in iris data set 150 observations are there. So if you specifically want to plot setosa species data points, so you can put here sapple.length and within brackets species equals to setosa, and rest you can well understand PCH, line width, and rest of the arguments, y label, y limit. So if you want to show certain limit, like it has, on computation based, it has taken the limits along the y axis. So sapple.length minimum is plotted along the y axis. Similarly, maximum of sapple.length is plotted along the y axis as a maximum limit. So just plot this graph and tell me whether it is working for you or not. Yes, students, is it coming?
Done, ma'am.
So I hope now you have understood that what we have made changes, okay? Now you run this command. After plotting the basic red data points corresponding to the species equals to setosa, now I want to add few more points using the points command. Sapple.length, make the species equal to versicolor, and PCH, earlier I have taken 3, now I am mentioning 8. So you need to make certain changes in terms of data points that you are plotting and color of those data points. Okay, students? Because this data set is having 3 levels of data point: setosa, versicolor, fine, and virginica. So if I will plot all the data points with the same color and same symbol, I won't be able to identify the classes. So now you can see here that by adding this points command, now I have plotted species equals to versicolor. Is it working for all of you? Please check this second command.
Yes, ma'am.
Now again pass this points command with certain variations. I hope now you can understand the significance of this points command, how it helps you. Okay, fine. Just repeat the points command for the third species. Species equals to virginica. PCH equals to 11. I have made changes in the data point, shape. Line width is not applicable because we are not plotting. You can even remove this argument LWD. Fine, students. Color is required. Fine, students. Is it working for you? Are you able to draw all these 3 color of data points?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now pass this legend command in which we are having 3 things. So one is location. Fine, students. Location may be a vector or a position like top, bottom, right, center, etc. And legend is used to write the condition. So I will show you what command you need to pass. So just add this command. Yes, students, are you able to add this legend? Please run the command legend in which I have mentioned top right. Top right corner, legend equals to what? You will have to mention the now again vector that I want to show setosa, versicolor, and virginica. Fine, students. And then again, in order to mention the data points, that plus symbol indicates setosa. So for that, PCH equals to again C. Let me show you the complete command. Yes, students, is it visible to you? Please type the command, then I will again increase the plotting area. So I have chosen top right corner, legend equals to these 3 text will come in the small box, and PCH equals to, you will have to mention 3 different. It should not be same. 3, 8, 11 means 3 is for setosa, 8 is for versicolor. You will have to take the same values that you have taken in the previous 3 commands. Fine, students. So in order to draw setosa, you have taken PCH equals to 3. So the same value here. Then for next category, versicolor, you have taken PCH equals to 8. So the same value. And for the third points command, species equal to virginica, you have taken PCH equals to 11. Fine, students. Similarly, color also you check. So you took 2 value, then 3, and then 4. Fine, students. Please convey if it is working for you. Legend.
Yes, ma'am.
So in this manner, it will plot your graph. The different category data points will be shown in different color by using different symbols. And by putting this legend information here, I can convey that plus represents setosa category, star represents versicolor category, and this further one more symbol we have taken, it is for Virginica. Okay, students. So I hope now you will come to again, remember your school days when we used to use such kind of things in the graphs, whether these are maps or so. So in maps also it is very useful, na? Legend kind of information which shows you different kind of plots in your graph. We were calling here graphs, and this is useful in maps also. Fine. So the same kind of concept we have applied here. So students, just explore. This is the last one that we'll do. STR empty cars. We have used it yesterday also. STR empty cars. Is it working for you?
Yes, ma'am.
STR empty cars. This data frame is already available. Then I have taken few rows out of that, or few observations. I told you one command, that is head command. Please run that and take few records in a new variable. Let's say head. Empty cars. So is it working for you? You can just see. So these rows are extracted. Are you getting, students? So by using the head command, I have extracted the top 6 rows and I have assigned them to empty variable. Yes, students, please try out. This is your pie chart. So what we actually did, out of the empty cars data frame that is inbuilt in R, I have taken the top 6 rows. We have covered this head command, in data structures class also. So those 6 rows are extracted and they are put in the empty variable. And then I am using this attach command in order to attach this for plotting the graph. And then for drawing the pie chart, you have this pie command. Okay, students. So I am using this disp column in order to plot this. Fine, students? Yes, students. So that I have drawn by using the disk column from the empty cars. And now I have simply taken one vector and then by passing the pie command, you can draw the pie chart. Okay, students? So you will have to just mention what are the different values and it will then calculate a sector. I hope you remember your school days, how to plot this pie chart. So it requires basically what is the proportion along this 360-degree each value will take. Hi, students. So it is only 4 values. So it has calculated sectors itself and it has plotted the pie chart. So pie chart can be drawn simply using the pie command. So please convey, is it working for all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have plotted the row names. Can you see the row names above? Just like the column names, MPG, this, HP, all these, attribute names are coming above the columns. Similarly, I'm having, with respect to which category of the cars, I'm having all these parameters. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I did, display the pie chart using the disp variable, and I want to put labels equals to what? I have extracted the row names out of this data frame. Getting, students? How I displayed these labels along this pie chart?
Yes, ma'am.
I have taken the labels which are extracted by using this row names function, and I have applied this to empty variable. Empty variable is basically having all these 6 rows that are shown above. So please check it out if it is working for you.
Done, ma'am.
Yes, students. So now we are using, now all of you understand that how to extract out of a matrix kind of, information. So all rows and column 1. Fine, students. So from this VA deaths, this is basically one more data set, VA deaths. So out of this, we have simply taken this column 1, all rows, column 1. Fine, students. So we can plot this simple, this is a bar plot. Or you can simply take one vector and you can plot a bar plot. Fine, students. If you want to take any column for displaying your bar plot, then you will have to mention which column you are going to use. Fine, students. So I have taken all the rows from VA deaths and I have taken the first column. Fine. Or simply I have run this same bar plot command on this above vector also with the name Y. So you can plot a bar plot also in this manner. Yes, students, are you able to see this? I have added one more argument, horizontal equals to true. So all the bars will be plotted in different direction. Earlier it was coming vertical. Fine. So now you can change the direction of this bar plot. So for that you will have to make horizontal equals to true. So kindly convey, is it working for all of you? This bar plot command? Yes, students? Kindly convey.
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
working for you? So we have covered simple point plot, line graph plot, pie chart, bar plot. Fine, students? So students, this is basically our data. So depending upon it means always every kind of graph will not be useful. So you will have to first of all explore the data, understand its nature, how the data is placed, and what kind of plot will be more suitable for you. Fine, students. So here we are just plotting. The data is categorized into this different classes. From 50 to 54, how many rural male are there, rural female, urban male, urban female. So if you are not aware of this particular data set, I gave you this command, help command. Fine, students? So you can read about this. This is basically death rates per thousand in Virginia in 1940. Fine, students? So this data set includes all this information. So you can first of all read what is there in the data set, then only you think of what kind of plot will be useful. So it is having all these attributes. Fine, students? Yes, students, are you getting this point? How we did it? The name of the data set is VA deaths. So you can explore its structure before we use it. And on this, we have tried bar plot command. Fine, students? So in order to draw the bar plot, one is by using a single column. For that, you will have to mention the above syntax. All rows and specifically column number 1. Fine, students? And if you want to make use of every column, then simply give the name of this particular data set and you will get this kind of plot. I hope you remember this stacked graph kind of things. Every color represents one different value. Fine, students? I'm not getting any response. Please convey.
Yes,
Are you
ma'am.
all there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Am I audible to all?
Yes, ma'am.
So please convey. Are you getting this point? How we are plotting? Because how many classes we are having? Please check the data. 52, 54, 55 to 59, 60 to 64, 65 to 69, 70 to 74. Fine, beta. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You will be having 5 values with different colors in this bar plot in the form of stacked graph. Fine, students? Earlier there was a single color because I have chosen only the single column. Currently, it is basically plotting with respect to rural male. This is my first. So how many columns are there? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fine, students? So this first bar plot is with respect to the first column. Corresponding to category 50 to 54, it is showing me 11.7. So accordingly, it is choosing. Fine, student? So in order to make use of these kind of bar plots, you will have to check whether bar plot is required or simple line graph is required and so on. And there is one attribute with the value beside. So if rather than drawing like this, one above another in the stacked format, if you want to show this bar plot beside each other, so just make this argument true. Yes, students? Are you getting this thing? I hope now it is more understood to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Why all these 5? So it means different classes I am having different number of rural males. So respective to that, we are plotting a separate bar with different color. So now it is much better. I hope here we have applied all the things that we have learned today. Bar plot is the type of graph. VADAX is the name of the data set. Beside equals to true means I want to plot all the bars beside each other. Main is the title. Main title is bar plot of VADAX. And colors. Students, as there are five these bars. So for every bar, you need to have different colors. So by using the range, you can look here that rather than you can specify it by using 5 values also. You can mention the 5 colors using the 5 values in this vector. So what I did, I have simply used the range function. So for the first bar, color is 1. For the second bar, color is 2, that is red. For the third bar, it is color that is green and so on. And legend equals to true. So you can see here that now it is showing me that what does these different color bars represent. Okay, students? Is it working for all of you? Please convey.
Yes.
Yes.
So in order to plot any graph, you need to know the name. You need to understand what are the different arguments in that and how to modify them. Fine, students? You can do all possible kind of formatting on your graph. So first of all, you understand what is the name of this function and how many arguments are possible. And give a twist according to your requirement and you can plot a very good graph. Fine, students? So I hope it is sufficient for today. Kindly convey if there is any query or any explanation needed regarding whatsoever we have covered till now.
No query, ma'am.
So students, similarly, you can draw different other kind of plots as you covered for the pie chart or line chart or bar plot. So the functionality is very simple in R. So if you want to plot histogram also, so the name of the function is hist, and simply provide the name of the data set, and you will have to put this frequency equals to false or true. This can be set. Fine, students. So accordingly, you can plot your histogram also. The command for that is HIST. Fine, students. By using the HIST command, you can draw your histograms. So similarly, you can apply these breaks also. Fine, students. Have you heard of histogram earlier? Histograms? Yes, students.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
So for
ma'am.
that, you can just make use of this histogram command. So rather than just pressuring your mind with a lot of things, so I only request you first of all to know your requirement. So do you require histogram or bar plot or pie chart? What kind of representation? So I hope this much introduction is sufficient for data visualization as an introduction. Rest depends upon your further exploration. We can do lot many things further in R. So Sakshi ma'am, are you there? Sakshi ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
So ma'am, I have covered the, what's your topic I have decided to cover in this particular session.
Okay, ma'am.
So they have covered through all possible kind of, basic graph plotting. Rest, they can extend their knowledge by reading in more details and by exploring the library and further
Okay.
functions.
Yes, ma'am. I'm
So
sharing the
students, if you have
attendance
any
link
query,
for the
please
day.
ask. Rest, we will otherwise disconnect.
Okay, ma'am.
Mhm.
Till the time I am sharing the attendance link as well.
So Sakshi madam, can I disconnect now?
Yes, ma'am, you can disconnect. I'll share the link and then end the meeting.
Fine, ma'am. Fine. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, students.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So in case if you have any query, please you can convey me tomorrow. You can practice the commands that I have shown you, and you can explore lot many good tutorials on different websites. So it's your journey to learn the language. Fine, students. So data visualization is a very vast subject, and depending upon the requirement, we can add on many more things. So I will share in my 2 remaining sessions some of the good libraries that you can explore in data visualization. So with these words, I'm just, leaving the meeting. So thank you all for joining this session.
Everyone, I have shared the attendance link as well in your chat window. Just follow the same for your attendance, and we are ending the meeting over here. Thank you so much for your participation today.